Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. This is the Routledge History of Literature in English part 9. So let's dive in the world of literature. So today we will be covering William Shakespeare. William Shakespeare, as he is the Bard of Heaven or father of English drama, as because even after centuries he is still read and people still take references from him, as because the plays of him are filled with human emotions. He has written 39 plays and the plays are divided into four periods. The first period is early plays from 1589 to 1593. In this period, 8 plays are written, and these are King Henry VI Part 1, King Henry VI Part 2, King Henry VI Part 3, Titus Andronicus, The Comedy of Errors, The Two Gentlemen of Verona, The Taming of the Shrew, and King Richard III. Then come plays from 1593 to 1598, which he has written 9 plays: King John, Love's Labour Lost, Romeo and Juliet, A Midsummer Night's Dream, The Merchant of Venice, King Richard II, King Henry IV Part 1, King Henry IV Part 2, and The Merry Wives of Windsor. Then comes plays from 1598, in which he has written 15 plays, and those are Much Ado About Nothing, King Henry V, Julius Caesar, As You Like It, Hamlet, Twelfth Night, Troilus and Cresside, All's Well That Ends Well, Measure for Measure, Othello, King Lear, Macbeth, Antony and Cleopatra, Timon of Athens and Coriolanus. Then comes late plays, in which he has written 7 plays, and those are Pericles, Cymbeline, The Winter's Tale, The Tempest, King Henry VIII, The History of Cardenio, The Two Noble Kingsmen. Do remember that the plays Pericles is attributed to Shakespeare and George Wilkins. Then the play The History of Cardenio is attributed to Shakespeare and John Fletcher. And the play The Two Noble Kingsmen attributed to Shakespeare and John Fletcher. Do remember that Shakespeare didn't follow the unities given by Aristotle, unity of time, place and action, as because Shakespeare only followed the unity of action, and in 2 plays he has followed all the unities, and those plays are The Tempest and The Comedy of Errors. Do remember it. From the 3 parts of Henry VI to the tragedy of Richard II and the historical pageant of Henry V, Shakespeare examines the personalities who were the monarchs of England between 1377 and 1485. If you have studied Henry VI, you will find that Henry VI is portrayed as weak, indecisive, in complete contrast to the heroic young Henry V. And one thing more, do cover the 4 important tragedies written by William Shakespeare: Hamlet, Othello, King Lear and Macbeth, for the UGC NET exam, because it is very much important, because questions might come. We can find love in Romeo and Juliet and Antony and Cleopatra, and the same subject in a comic vein in Love's Labour Lost, Twelfth Night and As You Like It. The theme of revenge and family duty in Hamlet, jealousy in Othello, sexual corruption and bonds of justice in Measure for Measure, misanthropy or rejection of the world in Timon of Athens, family rejection and madness in King Lear, the power of money and the vulnerability of the minority in The Merchant of Venice. His first tragedy, Titus Andronicus, uses the blood tragedy model of the Latin writer Seneca, which was very much to the taste of the late 1580s audience. The Comedy of Errors similarly uses the model of the Roman comic dramatist Plautus. The first folio, put together by John Hemming and Henry Condell in 1623, the division into acts and scenes of most of the plays belongs to almost a century later. In 1709, one of the first editors of Shakespeare's work, Nicholas Rowe, imposed a pattern of structural order on the works. There are few important lines given in between of the plays written by Shakespeare, do read it because lines might come in matching. Because there are lines like, when we are born, we cry that we have come to this great stage of fools. Do remember that these lines are written centuries earlier and still we can correlate with it. This is the magic of William Shakespeare. Queen Elizabeth I's own favorite was Falstaff in Henry IV Part 1 and 2, and it was at her command that a comedy, The Merry Wives of Windsor, was created around this jovial, cynical, humorous, fat, pleasure loving adventurer. Romeo and Juliet are the embodiment of young love which triumphs over everything, even death. Lady Macbeth is often seen as the strong, scheming woman behind an indecisive husband, and sometimes as the fourth witch. In a play where the witches represent demonic power, Othello and Desdemona are the perfect union of warrior and virgin, the classical Mars and Diana, whose union is ruined by the devil figure Iago. Shylock is almost the traditional stage Jew. Shakespeare's women are just as much forceful modern Renaissance characters as his men, from Adrena in the Comedy of Errors, through Katharina in The Taming of the Shrew, to the determined Helena in All's Well That Ends Well. It is often the female characters who lead and tame the men in the gender switching comedies As You Like It and Twelfth Night. It is Rosalind and Viola who, temporarily dressed as men, bring Orlando and Orsino respectively to the fullest realization of their own masculine potential. Shakespeare gives us mother like Volumnia in Coriolanus, Gertrude in Hamlet, Queen Margaret in Richard III, the Countess in All's Well That Ends Well. Young lovers such as Juliet, Ophelia, and Miranda, who are also daughters and sisters, and strong, decisive women who might well take on conventionally masculine roles and qualities such as Portia and Lady Macbeth. Hamlet has been described as melancholic and neurotic, as having an Oedipus complex, as being a failure and indecisive, as well as being a hero and a perfect Renaissance prince. Shakespeare's plays do not present easy solutions. The audience has to decide for itself. Like King Lear is perhaps the most disturbing in this respect. One of the key words of the whole play is nothing. When King Lear's daughter Cordelia announces that she can say nothing about her love for her father, the ties of family love fall apart, taking the king from the height of power to the limits of endurance, reduced to nothing but a poor, bare, forked animal. A brave new world that has such people in it. Lines from The Tempest. And if you can recall, a novel has been written by a novelist with the title Brave New World. It is a dystopian novel. If you remember the name of the author, do mention it in the comment section below. Now let's talk about his sonnets. He has written 154 sonnets. The sonnets are dedicated to the young man and the dark lady. Sonnets from 1 to 126 are dedicated to the young man, and sonnets from 127 to 154 is dedicated to dark lady. And the last two sonnets are taken inspiration from Cupid. So at times it is said that the last two sonnets are dedicated to Cupid. And in the earlier videos, I have talked about sonnets, who has brought sonnets in England and they have taken inspiration from whom. If you remember it, do mention it in the comment section below. And the structure of sonnets by William Shakespeare is 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 2 equals to 14 lines. And the rhyming scheme is ABAB, CDCD, EFEF, GG. You can find many controversial things regarding the writers and their works, who has actually written it, or different things. But in UGC NET, these kind of questions are not asked, because whether it is right or not, nobody knows. So that is why these kind of questions are not asked, because they can create doubts. That is why. So this is all for Shakespeare from the Routledge History of Literature in English. I have covered the important pointers that are there in the book. If you have any query or doubt, you can ask me in the comment section below, or you can message me in the social media that is given there in the description box below. Do share the video to all those who wants to be the part of this literature journey. So that's all. Thank you.